Well, what up, everybody? How are y'all? And before anybody says anything, guys, yes, my audio is terrible. Yes, Steve's video is terrible. Everything's going to be terrible tonight because we are patching this thing together. So, just so y'all know. Matter of fact, Steve, very well, might be frozen already. Steve?
It's pretty bad up here.
Oh, I think you're froze already, Steve. But yeah, guys, it's one of those days. We're trying. We didn't want to like cancel the stream altogether, but most everything that could not cooperate is not cooperating tonight. So I couldn't make it out to the shop because of my newly found limited mobility with this knee surgery and everything. So I'm out here on the front porch with the bugs and the critters and everything. And Steve is not at home. He is on the road and in a part of the world that does not believe in adequate internet service. So so that's where we're at tonight, guys. So it may be a short show. So just bear with us. We'll get through this. Hopefully, we'll be back in the shops soon. Mine is like literally right there. It's like what 50, 60 yards away, but that 50 or 60 yards is a long time when you've got this knee immobilizer on and it's gravel and you're on crutches because I can't go anywhere right now without these things, and that's not something that I'm used to. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, hello everybody. Maybe we can at least
But
answer a few questions. Be the butt of a joke or something tonight.
yeah, well, we'll see how this goes. And I may end up doing this a lot because that seems to help uh, me hear clack on this sketchy water-based internet.
Mercy.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm up in northern Minnesota. We're up by Lake Superior and enjoying a extended weekend. But I'll be back in the shop maybe even tomorrow evening. But definitely Tuesday back at work and then back in the shop. So just enjoying a little R&R.
Yeah, well, I wish I could say I was enjoying some R&R, but I have been getting a lot of rest because me and the pain medications that they've given me, the pills that they've given me basically are like narcolepsy in a bottle. So when I take one of them, it like I'm out, I'm asleep. I actually had to start this morning timing my medication so that I wouldn't be like a zombie going into the live. So if I start looking like the pain start to come back, it's probably because it is. Because the last 2 hours that I can stand it is going to be the last 2 hours of this live before I have to take my medication again. Because I didn't want y'all guys to see me over here drooling on the computer screen or falling asleep. Brady Brady told Steve that if I fell asleep to just turn my screen off so nobody could see it. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I had to go in.
Well,
For those of you that aren't familiar, I tore a few weeks ago, actually about 8 weeks ago now, 6 or 7 weeks ago. I tore my quad loose from my kneecap. There's a tendon that connects your quadriceps muscles to your kneecap, and one of those tendons, I was told, was about 40% separated from the bone. So they had to go back in and reattach it with Kevlar thread. And for those of you that aren't sure and have any doubts, when they do that, it makes it really sore, and so they have to give you lots of pain pills and muscle relaxers and stuff like that. So far, I'm in at day 2, and I'm getting to where I can actually get up and go to the restroom and stuff like that without too much torture. So I'm hoping that in 3 or 4 more days, maybe I'll be able to, get out to the shop and at least sit in my chair and do some stuff out there. But the problem is the more I sit up like this, the more swelling comes into that knee. The more swelling comes into the knee. Some of you guys that's been there understand how that goes. That knee starts to swell up, pain intensifies, and back to the recliner I go. So we'll see. Not believe it or not, for the most part, where I'm at right here, I mean, mosquitoes don't usually bother me. Now, if I go to I can go to New Orleans and they'll eat me alive. But for some reason, right here where I live, the mosquitoes generally don't bother me out like in my yard. If I go off in the woods down in the bottom somewhere, I'll get into a bunch of them. But I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's just a breed of mosquitoes or they just don't like me or I'm too sour or what. But they don't bother us too much right here around the house.
Yeah, lucky you. If I was out on the porch here, I'd be getting eaten alive.
Yeah, well, I think it's where I'm at. It's real sandy, so there's not like they don't like hanging out right here where my house is. Now you can go across the road down by the creek where it's muddy. It's a different world. But up here where it's sandy at, I don't have fire ants and I don't have that bad of mosquitoes up here on the
Hmm.
sandbar. So.
Very nice.
Somebody said it looks like he's asleep. I don't know if they're talking about you or me.
Well, if I'm paused, it may. And I don't. I
I'm
don't have
trying to
my
scroll through
normal
the
setup here,
comments.
so
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll through the comments too, but I'm on a laptop as well. So me and Steve are both limited guys. So if you have a question, you may want to throw some big question marks up there to help us notice it. Yeah, Tim, I have been rotating the ice packs like nobody's business. I unsnap this immobilizer and I shove ice pack down in both sides and just sit there with my leg propped up on the recliner. So that's where I've been for the past few days, and I'm trying to do exactly what they tell me to do so that it doesn't prolong me getting back in the shop and getting back up to full power. So what you got going on over there, Steve? I've been talking too much, maybe because I hadn't talked to anybody in like 3 days.
sorry. I'm afraid to talk because it'll just freeze mid sentence.
All right. Well, they're asking about the storm, so I'll talk about the storm.
There you go.
Luckily, where I'm at, if you look at the state of Alabama, I'm located like dead center of Alabama. So we were on the lesser evil side of the storm because some of y'all may or may not know, but typically with hurricanes, if you're on the east side of the hurricane, that's where all the water gets dumped. So, like when a hurricane's making landfall, if you see that hurricane, the eye is going to pass to your east or east of you, typically speaking, it's going to spare you from the majority of the really bad winds and the really, really heavy rains. Now, you're still going to get some rain, you're still going to get some wind, but the west side of the eye is nowhere near what is on the east side due to the rotation and the way that, landfall affects a storm. So, where I'm at, it's we had some wind come through. We had a few older trees get knocked down and stuff like that. Nothing we don't typically get just with thunderstorms. So we've been fortunate on that. We did get a good bit of rain, but not enough to really cause any kind of widespread flooding or anything. Now the folks east of us, over around Georgia, all the way up through North Carolina, man, it's been because I can honestly say I've been keeping up with hurricanes for a while in our area because I used to work for the company that I would go out of town and work when one hit. Good gosh, Steve, what you doing over there, fella? And and it's been a while since I've seen a storm just drive straight up Georgia like that. And so that seeing what's happening with the water and the problems with the drainage and the flood and stuff over there, that's prayers for everybody that's been involved in that. I know there's a lot of you guys that are in that way. I know. My gosh, Steve, what are you doing over there, fella?
Sorry, trying not to do
I know. I know a lot of you guys. Like I said, I know a lot of you guys are in Georgia, and a few of you are in Carolinas and Tennessee, places like that. And I think that the locations that had the really really severe damage are I'm hoping that's not the norm. It's more the exception to the rule. Because I know there's a lot of those little valleys and little cities and stuff along those riverbanks up through there that would be devastating to those communities because most everything in those areas is like right up down the edge of that river. So, but prayers for those affected, and I hope it. Like I said, we got lucky. It went to the east of us, and I said a little bit of rain. It rained for a couple of days here, a little bit of wind, but nothing too terrible.
There's a question. Ken's asking about replacements, air assist, 2 from X Tool that have died. Just quick question, Ken, which X Tool laser and or air assist have been working with? I'm guessing maybe the original one for the D series, but
Yeah.
if you want just a straight up replacement like that, but you don't want to pay the X Tool price, there are definitely a lot of makers of that same one. And I'm trying to. Geekbee is one Amazon store. It's identical to X Tool. You get all the nozzles and everything, but it's like $60 instead of 100 and some, I think, or maybe even less. Otherwise, you may want to look at some of Clack's videos where he's using a normal air compressor and the filter and such. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Comgrow used to. I think it's my daughter coming home. Comgrow used to make one. I don't know if they still do or not. That was basically a clone of X Tools Air Assist that worked really well. I've actually got one of them. But if as far as air assist pumps, depending on which machine you have, if you need a standalone pump that's not going to power from the machine, those ones from like ComMarker or not ComMarker, Comgrow and places like that would be great. But of course, if your machine requires a specific one, if it's powered through the machine, then you're kind of limited. Like with the new Atom stacks, most of those are powered through an output from the laser, so you're gonna have to make sure that you get the appropriate input power and cables and all that. So a lot of times with those, you're going to be forced into just buying a factory replacement one. But shop air is always to me, it's a good alternative. But some folks may not have the infrastructure or an air compressor may be going to cost you more than what replacing the air assist pump is. Like some of the moisture problems that other folks may have and stuff like that. So it just depends.
Yeah, I do see on Amazon they have the Comgrow one. It's $60. The Geekbee one seems to be about the cheapest. It's $54 right now, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much a stock pump. It does have a variable speed on it, which is different than the X Tool one, which is kind of nice. But it comes with a nozzle and the extension tube and the little top plate. So it's pretty much everything you'd get in the X Tool kit. But I've played with that one. I've tested it. It works pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard North Carolina got hit pretty hard from what I've been seeing on the news and social media and stuff like that. And that's like I said, that's storms don't typically hurricanes from what I've seen don't typically run up like that. They usually come in from the coast. Even the ones that I've worked over the years that have hit North Carolina, South Carolina, like Hurricane Sandy when it came in, it went through New York, places like that. Those storms usually you're used to them coming in from there, and when it does that, you get that brief encounter with the rain, and then it goes away. But the way this thing came up from the Gulf and was sucking all that moisture from across the center of the country to kind of feed itself, man, it dumped so much water and just kept dumping it all the way up through there. It's freakishly effective at making at making a lot of rain. Apparently, this storm was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hope. Like I said, I hope it doesn't get any worse. I know I've been seeing where they've been talking about how many people have been killed from it and homes destroyed and entire towns destroyed, and I mean it's terrible. But hopefully it doesn't get any worse.
Mark's commenting on having issues with importing DXF files. Issues depending on the software, what units they've exported it as. Sometimes it's developed in inches versus centimeters, millimeters, so imperial versus metric, and that can cause some issues. So it's nice to know what it was exported as, and sometimes the program will have an import. I used to be a big fan of DXF. I'm much more moving towards SVG because same issues, like you import DXFs into XCS and other software, and it'll take those units, and if it was designed in inches, it's thinking millimeters, and so they're just tiny, and now you're trying to resize it correctly. Anything I design like that, I usually offer up all the different types of files so people don't have problems. But when I'm converting them, I'll often draw a 1-inch box in the other software. And then when I import it, I know if I scale the drawing so that box, I've got the scale right. So, yeah, I don't have a fix for you on them. If you can try recommend FreeCAD as an SVG or something, that might help.
Yeah, I have better luck, and I think the folks that I sell files to seem to be having better luck with laser files from the SVG format.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten away from saving anything DXF because of that. Because the DXF files that I was uploading, people were trying to use XCS and some of the other, like We Create software and stuff like that, and it was just getting a little buggy. So I've gotten to where I try to stay clear of the DXF, except for like VCAR files. If I'm doing something for a CSC, the CSC software like Vectric and stuff like that seems to do a lot better job of processing those than the laser softwares do. So I have been intentionally avoiding DXF formats when it comes to laser files.
And I've even found We Create software struggles on importing this Viper. So
You broke up on that.
piece of software. All right, am I back now?
Yeah, it's the audio is a little choppy, but yeah.
Well,
What's up, Mr. Ballard? How are you, sir? Yeah. Like I said, tonight might not be a very long show because between my improvised setup and yours, I don't want to drive everybody too crazy. So we may have to call it if it gets much worse. Uh, but David Pingle is asking. Now there's one of those mosquitoes. So y'all done taught one up. He's over here messing with my computer screen. David's asking, is there a point where a ventilator fan can cause sooty cutting on diode laser? If you're referring to your exhaust, if it's exhausted properly, I wouldn't think so. The more air you have moving through your enclosure, the better when it comes to exhausting the fumes and stuff. Now, air assist can, in some situations, cause more soot on the surface of an engrave, but not on every situation. There you are. You're back. How are you, sir?
Sorry, I was waiting for your video to catch up to me too. Yeah, air movement's a fickle thing, and so that's where you and I, in any custom enclosure design, anytime you can have a downdraft, it's going to help, because if your ventilator's at the back and it's pulling all that sooty air back, you could cause you'll see that kind of that soot smudge on top sometimes gets in the direction of both your air assist blowing it that way as well as your ventilation. But usually it's more of an air assist issue than ventilator.
Ballard want to know if we're channeling
Right.
our inner him this week. No, I'm temporarily immobilized, and so I didn't want to try to get out to the shop today with these. And Steve is traveling, seeing the world today. So between the two of us, neither one of us are in our ideal setup. Now mine shouldn't be too terrible. I think I should probably be better as far as the connection quality and stuff. But I am outside on my front porch. You can see the ferns and stuff right over my head. So neither one of us are in our ideal locations today. But hopefully it'll be back to normal next week. If I can get this leg to where I can get mobile enough to go out in the shop and hang out for extended periods of time, I do plan on spending my days out there rather than in the house. But we'll see.
Yes, and I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll be back. You're gonna be back at home tomorrow. You said.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
tomorrow afternoon. No, I mean it's been fun up here, enjoying it, and it's a real nice cabin. But yeah, the internet, it just seems like it takes a nap every, I don't know. Sometimes it's every 30 seconds. Sometimes it's every 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've still
It's all right.
got. I'm on my Wi-Fi, but I've got a gig of internet here at the house. But the difference in the audio is I'm actually using a set of IsoTune earbuds as my microphone, so it's going to sound more like a phone conversation than it is a podcast. So that's the. But these things are handy though because I can hear Steve. Steve can hear me. These I use these a lot if I'm doing like Zoom calls or something like that on the phone on a computer. But yeah, that's the microphone for tonight, guys. Right there, there you had it. They're not exactly ideal for creating content, but they do work for listening to content while you're working in your shop. So, but my wife was collecting my things to bring in the house for the live, and that was the easiest thing that I could tell her was get the little box that says ISO tunes on the top of it.
Sure.
So
Yep.
that that way I had at least had a headphone that I knew was charged.
Had to go back for this one. We missed the Duke of Tanks question,
All right.
and you extended your P20, so maybe you can help out with this. And I'll be choppy, but work areas off from laser grid will go right to the edges and sound like grinding at times.
That is more than likely going to be an issue when you extended it. There's the linkage. There's a where the stepper connects to everything. That the little locking block. If you get that locking block too close to the stepper, it'll actually hit the stepper and cause a grinding noise. So you may want to check and make sure that you left some clearance in there for when that little locking block where that bar connects to it is not hitting. But yeah, that's going to more than likely be that little timing linkage bar. I can't show it to you because I don't have a machine with me. But if you'll go back and look at it's on the opposite end. No, it's going to be on the end where the button and everything is. So it'll be on the end closest to you if you've got your machine. You'll have to look over inside there where the stepper is. The stepper will actually hit that little aluminum piece of machine aluminum that's got the grub screws in it. Because mine did that one time and it made a heck of a racket. Oh, somebody's cracking at my earbuds. No, these. I've got two sets of these. I've got the big muffs that I use for the sawmill, and these I usually wear either when I'm in the shop CNCing or when I'm cutting grass. I wear them because I like to listen to my music and like listen to some of Steve's videos or somebody else's videos. Even though I'm not watching, I'll be listening, and so I use these a lot in the shop for stuff like that. I've got these and the big over the ear ones. The over the ear ones are a little better if you're like running the sawmill or something that's really loud. Ooh, that's a big old bug. It seems like it does it going off the work area. Yeah, you're gonna have some timings that need to be adjusted. There, Duke of Tank, and also you need to make sure that when you put it back together, you're gonna have to change the max travel distance. Also, I did a video on no more double homing, and it was actually on a P20. Because if you don't go in and change that setting on the controller, you'll have to hit the home button twice to get the machine to actually go all the way home. Nate, I have it. Nate's saying that he's just updated Lightburn, noticed he can no longer adjust X or Y dimensions by typing in the boxes. I don't know if anybody else have that issue. I haven't since I released that update. I haven't noticed that, but I only had a couple of days of playing with the lasers before I had to go get cut on. So I haven't been back in the shop since I guess it was Thursday night was the last time I was out there trying to get finished up. So I haven't seen that. Well, there you are, Steve. You made it back.
Yeah, sorry. So is that in the version 1.7?
I'm guessing that's what mine just updated to. So I'm assuming unless I'm behind.
Yeah, I haven't done that one yet, so maybe when I get back.
Yeah, it just popped up for me like Thursday, I think it was, and I went ahead and did it. And I did notice that there was a few little small changes, but I didn't even read the release notes on it, so I don't know what all they changed with it. I was in a hurry trying to get jobs caught up.
I did twit though.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. So they'll hopefully be a quick little video I put together while I was up here.
Cool. Well, they didn't let me do anything with lasers at the hospital the other day, so there was not going to be any surgery day videos of laser engravings.
You didn't smuggle one in?
No, I do have this really cool leg brace that appears to have some 3D printed parts on it. I mean, I guess there's that.
I don't know. That sounds a little sketchy.
These little button covers, they look 3D printed. They may not be. I'd have to show it to you, but I can't get it. I can't lift it up that high. Maybe another day.
Oh, this is interesting. Ryan was at 3D Printopia, and I believe Ryan said he had a quick like vlog video out on it. I haven't been able to catch up on all my videos while I've been traveling this weekend, but sounds like he talked with Liper and had some stuff with Millmage. I know we're all still kind of looking forward to hearing more about that.
Yeah.
He said they were running a pen to put names on the tags.
Sweet. Yeah, I haven't. Like I said, the past 2 or 3 weeks, I have been knowing that I had this surgery coming. So I haven't. I have been cramming, trying to get jobs caught up, get content out, so that I don't have too much of a dry spell. I've got a few things still to come, but hopefully it'll hold over for a few days because I'm looking at probably middle of the week, end of the week before I'm able to actually get out there and do anything. As much as I would rather be out there today doing something, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Well,
anybody else got any questions? I better get them in there now because tonight might be a short night. My pain medicines is technically I'm about an hour past when I'm supposed to take my pain meds, but just for the sake of making sure that I didn't fall asleep on y'all or buy a house or anything from anybody while I was on meds, I decided to wait until after the live to take them. So. Yeah, they told me when I left the doctor's office, they were like, "Now you be sure not to make any major purchases and blah blah blah." I'm like,
yeah,
I'm like, yeah,
no
I gotta
major
do that.
decisions. Yeah,
but yeah, it's so far, like I said, I'm hoping it fixes the problem that I was having, and I don't have any continued issues with it. But we'll have to give it time to see. There's somebody got a question right there.
I was gonna say I got the wrong window up for that. There we go. They have a CO2 laser with an adjustable exhaust fan, AC Infinity Cloudline series. Can I use that with a Y connector for a Lasermatic XW? You can definitely you can try. It's going to depend a little bit on the fan, its amount of CFN that it can pull, as well as the outlets, inlets, and such. How bad is this? Am I breaking up?
No, my wife's in there commenting.
Oh, okay. So I actually did a video using two. I've got the P2 as well as the S1 setup on it, but I also included blast gates. So that might be something you want to look at with that setup. That way you can cut off the exhaust to one or the other, or you can have them both open, but you are going to be kind of splitting that airflow between the two. But you're also going to want to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. You don't have tight bends because those are all going to cut down on your airflow. And if you're just using the best scenario there would have a 6-inch fan with 6-inch pipes and then just 4-inch. It is doable. Actually, I think Samcraft is using a similar setup on multiple machines. So your piping is going to make a big difference there.
Yeah, I've got an adjustable Vevor fan that I use as a secondary pull fan for my middle of the shop machines that I run, but I adjust it differently for depending on which machine's connected to it because some of the machines require a little more assist than others. But yeah, it's basically just get it to where it's getting the air out of there, but you don't want to overdo it, especially if you've got a stock fan in there. You don't want to be backfeeding that thing, just sucking the motor out of it. Uh, but I have, like I said, I've got several machines in the shop that I'll use my little assist fan to make sure that it's not putting too. I don't want to put too much work on the little small fan trying to push it all the way out to the back of the shop. But at the same time, I don't want to just be free spinning that thing because I've got so much suction going through it either.
Yeah.
No, my wife's out there messing with. I'll say that y'all might not want to listen to my advice. Take it with a grain of salt or something like that. I forgot what she said, but she's being special.
No, it's okay. We're just going to let you know that you're giving away lasers next week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we haven't talked about that. Let's see. Kevin Ridge. Here you go. There's your one. I haven't messed with that as far as the F1. Oh, the F1 Ultra.
Going to implicate the so
Yeah.
like if you have a vector drawing, you're going to have to duplicate it, lay them over top of each other, put them on 2 different layers. And then usually in XCS, you get the multiple object, and then you can specify do one operation on the one and the second operation on the other. I don't think they have, like Lightburn will have, you can select one vector and add a subtask where you can tell it to do one thing first and then the other. I don't believe that XCS has that yet. So you need to actually duplicate the artwork, center them on top of each other. And then, you probably want to duplicate them, put them on different layers, then center them on top of each other, and then you can work on each layer and its settings individually.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking Lightburn for some reason. Oh, but yeah, that's what I've been doing when I run like a tag or something like that, where I want to use the blue and the IR. Is basically just replicate it and set it as a different layer with different power settings. Yeah, I hear everybody's trying to give all my stuff away. Sounds like.
Well, you do get all the cool toys.
Oh no, sir. I haven't gotten all the cool toys. Steve, I think Steve still outnumbers me on cool toys. I think he's got. I think if we inventoried, I think he has more things that I don't have than things that I have that he doesn't have. I think we need to do an inventory one day. I think Steve's got me beat.
Yeah, I don't know.
Temporarily, anyway. Oh, you never know. But yeah, it's hopefully it's not going to be too long. I'll be back out in the shop, guys, because it's really driving me nuts. Y'all just don't know. I can't sit still, and to have to sit still in this recliner for multiple days is just not something I'm a fan of at all. And then, of course, sitting out here, it's starting to wear on me just a little bit. But we're gonna get back in there in a little bit and get elevated and iced and all that good stuff. So
That's good. Just trying to jump through comments here.
yeah, I'm trying to keep people from trying to take my truck. Looks like.
Yeah. Beetle saying since I updated my laser, only wants to run at 100%, and when I try to set minimum power, it won't accept it. I need a little more information. I'm assuming you're saying with Lightburn update, and maybe what type of laser that you have. Again, I haven't done the update yet.
By saying he's setting minimum power, that sounds like he's setting setting it up for an image, because you really don't.
Well,
typically it doesn't give you the minimum power unless you're in image mode. Great deal.
Yes, but also some
I mean,
reading.
I know some of the controllers, some of the CO2s
Yeah,
will, but
right. That's what I was just gonna say. Some of the
depends on what
CO2s
machine.
reader will do it, but
Hmm. Yeah, I said
uh,
I haven't played with it much since I hit that update button. So
okay. Yeah, if you give us a little more context on that, maybe we can help sort it out a little bit. There's another one from Wi-Fi Dan. Why does Lightburn show one pass and one global pass, but the program often runs twice?
uh,
You sure it's not set up with multi? Oh,
yeah, that sounds like a multiple pass, or either that or you got crosshatch turned on.
that could be it. Yeah, yeah. If it's an engraving, definitely check the engraving style under I think advanced in the settings for your layer.
Yeah, could have great. He's saying it does it 90 degrees across it. So I mean, 90 degree. That's crosshatch, possibly. Make sure the crosshatch isn't turned on. Yeah, this hey, it starts after a while. I'm currently sitting in a wooden rocking chair, guys. So it's not exactly this chair is not exactly made for what I'm dealing with. So I'm having to reposition. Uh, it starts getting a little pressure here and pressure there, and things start hurting. So I'm just basically trying to relocate it, move it around a little bit, keep it from bothering me until I can get it back in there, elevated on that recliner.
So Beetle came back, said it's a diode laser and trying to burn an image.
Yep, that's why it's got the maximum and minimum.
So it
Put it
says
on,
when he tries to set the minimum power, it won't accept it. Can't seem to get variable power.
probably because it's on constant power mode. There's a little button for that. Ah.
Yeah, could check constant power mode, but that's usually turned off by default. You gotta normally force that on. But
It's definitely I feel strongly this is gonna be a setting somewhere. You got something that's gotten clicked or accidentally, or either you downloaded a file from somebody and accidentally imported those settings. Because one thing I will tell you is if you download some graphics from Etsy, a lot of times people will have things turned on, especially if it's a Lightburn file. And so when you bring that file in, it can do some weird stuff to some of your layers. So you need to always pay attention to the layers because I had a file that I had built myself like a year ago. I opened it the other day, and for some reason I had constant power mode turned on it, and it changed settings. And it took me a couple of burns to realize that it had turned constant power mode on that layer in Lightburn. Probably because I was cutting some of that what you call it, stencil material.
hmm,
That's about the only time I run constant power. Those are cool
I've
little breeds.
usually used it for some troubleshooting and such. But
Yeah.
um, good evening, Bespoke. They're happy to relieve us of any excess surplus equipment. Well, I know we've talked about it in the past. There is the Minnesota Woodworking Expo coming up in 2 weeks. Actually, it's on I think October 13th. I better
Yeah.
look at the calendar. 12th. I think October 12th. Um, I'm leaning towards trying. I think my schedule is going to be open. I'm leaning towards going up there, weather dependent. They do have a tool swap outside, so this is probably going to be the thing that I let you know the Sunday before. So like maybe next week, if I'm going to go, I may be bringing some miscellaneous equipment that I've had him to review that maybe I'm not using, and maybe I can get it into some people's hands. So when I get back home, I'm going to look through some stuff because I've been doing some shop cleanup before winter, and
Yeah.
and we'll see. So if people are in the area, or they want to travel to the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, which is in kind of the north side of St. Paul, I'll have more information next week, and I'll let you know what I may or
Are
may
you
not.
are you saying there may or may not be a list of some available items?
There may be some items. I've everything from. I mean, I've got some rotaries I'm not using. I've got a longer IR module I'm not using.
Yeah,
On up to that, there might even be a couple of older full-on diode lasers that I would love to get in the hands of someone who would actually use it. So
yeah.
we'll see.
Hey, did I tell you? Did I tell you what happened to me the other day? I don't
Mm.
know if y'all have heard this story, but about a year ago, I was at an event here at our local Tractor Supply, and there was a lady set up, and she was selling cutting boards. And as I walked by, she had a couple of cutting boards left, and looked like she had almost sold out completely. So I spoke to her, and I was like, "Well, wow, you've had a good day. Only got a couple left. That's what you want to see. If you can get rid of those two, you won't have to load anything up." And she's like, "Well, not exactly." She's like, "It's been an okay day, but this is all I've got left because my machine tore up." Well, you know, makes long story short, come to find out, she wound up. I gifted her with a replacement machine to fix the one that she had destroyed. Well, I went in the other day to our Humane Society. I'm doing the event for the Humane Society coming up next month. Uh, and lo and behold, she has taken over as the director of the Humane Society now. So we've got somebody that runs lasers now running the Humane Society. Well, I walked in and I was like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "I work here now." And I'm like, "What?" But so she's running the Humane Society now here in town. And lo and behold, they have I may or may not have put a puppy on hold that was in there that needs a home.
Mm.
Uh, and he may or may not be going to come home with me as soon as I can get to where I can handle him. So I'm working on that now. But they had a cool looking German Shepherd that looked a lot like Max when he was a puppy, and apparently nobody has adopted him, and he's been in there for he's reached his limit. But I was able to hopefully give him a little bit of a stay until I can get back up there and get this leg situation resolved. So I thought that was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, so she'll be actually the director for Humane Society now, and we actually met through laser stuff, which
Hmm.
I thought was cool. But I went up there. I donated on my time clock to help. They're doing some revamping and stuff like that, so I bought a time clock and donated it to them to help track volunteers and paid employees and stuff because they didn't have anything before. It was more or less just a write your name on a sheet of paper type thing. And when I went in there to drop it off, I was like, "Oh, there she is. Oh, look, Brady's bringing me some ice." Yeah, I could use some ice. Hey, you know what? If there happened to be some teeth fell in that cup right there, that would be awesome too. Thank you.
So yeah, I missed out with
She's
their.
gonna have to. Hey, she's gonna have to get a bonus this month, guys. Uh,
Um,
I'm pretty sure she's got the employee of the month sewed up this month.
Sorry, I paused
Oh,
a second.
go ahead.
Oh, am I
Oh,
back? Back.
yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you now, but
Sorry. Well, I turned my camera off because when you freeze, I figure I'm freezing. There's a yeah we're supporters of our local well, there's multiple human societies in the greater area, but our local one we are our black cat from there, so we try to support them. Unfortunately, they had an event this weekend where they do like a
huh?
5K fundraiser,
Oh,
and
she said
the
she
fundraiser.
said, yeah. Well, Brandy was saying Billy come over and babysit me yesterday, so she might have to give him a attaboy for employee of the month this month. But we had so much stuff going on with the kids, and uh, Emily had a band thing going on, and we had a ball game, and it just got hectic. So Brandy didn't want to leave me here by myself for whatever reason. So Bill come over yesterday and hung out, and we watched TV and uh, talked lasers and all that kind of stuff. So she says she may have to pass on Employee of the Month this month and let me give it to him.
Here's one you might want to address.
Uh, Jason Hoffman says, looking to add a CO2 laser to the collection, currently running an X-Tool, all X-Tool products. Is the new P2 worth it, or should I be looking for another brand or learning some new software? Jason, I will say this: the P2 is not a terrible machine. I have the P2, the older one. I don't have the newest, the P2S or whatever they're calling the new one. I have the original P2. It's not a bad machine. It does a good job, but it's a little pricey. But if you're okay with paying the extra price because you do like what you've dealt with X Tool, then so be it. I mean, it's a good machine. I am in no way knocking X Tool's P2. It is still a good machine. However, uh, I have recently had a new CO2 machine in my shop that is cheaper, and to me, it flows really well for me. But now I don't run XCS a lot. I prefer Lightburn. So that may be a difference between me and you. But the new Atom Stack Hurricane that they came out with, I think Atom Stack has done a really good job of taking Lightburn and desktop CO2s and implementing the two, because you basically get, a similar machine to the Glowforges and the X-Tool P2s and stuff like that. You get a machine with similar capabilities, but a machine that is built around functionality with Lightburn. And I like it. It works great for me. But the P2, to answer your question, yeah, it's a decent machine if you like the X-Tool ecosystem. It's I don't have any complaints with it. It is a little pricier than some of the other brands for sure. But as long as you're okay with that aspect of it, then I don't have anything bad to say about them. So what is your thoughts? You also have the P2. I know you have the bigger CO2, but you have the P2 as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been using the P2 as my primary CO2 machine for a while. As a matter of fact, my larger machine, older CO2 that I've actually had for about 9 years, is probably going to go to a friend. And so, if you're very comfortable with the X-Tool, the software and such, definitely the new P2S. It's got a lot of features fixed on it. Not, I shouldn't say fixed, but enhancements to the original P2 that are worth it. And it's a decent machine. But as Clack mentioned, there are other options that are cheaper, but you are going to have to learn new software. And I would recommend trying out Lightburn. I mean, you can do that with your P2. They have a free demo for 30 days. It's a you might even like playing with that software, even if you go with another P2, because it may open up some design features, some workflow features. Not everything works. All the features of the P2 work in Lightburn, but from another piece of software that allows you to use other lasers and do some different designing, you may like it as well. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is a nice desktop CO2 laser, but it's a little on the upper end of the price of what you can pay. But I think up until the Atom Stack, that one that came out, and I don't have firsthand experience, but just talking with others and looking at it, I would say it's probably one of the better ones that has been out there.
Yeah,
Experience with the
I, I
a bit
like
of
it so
warmth.
far. Like I said, I haven't ran it as long as I have the P2. I've had the P2 in my shop for quite a while. Since the hurricane has came to stay with us, I've started using it as my CO2. And I'm gonna be honest with you, whereas used to I would use the P2 only for acrylics or only for jobs that I felt it was suited for. I find myself now, because of the fact that I'm running it in Lightburn, I find myself using the Hurricane for more jobs than I did the P2, just because it just flows better. And I can't explain it, guys. I'm used to Lightburn, and I know that's what it is. It's the way that it functions in Lightburn that's drawing me to use it. Like, I've gotten now to where instead of using my X40, I'll fire up the Hurricane and run it. Or instead of using my 70, I'll fire up the Hurricane. which is weird to me because typically I usually go to the diodes first. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm getting more than the fair share of use out of the machine. So there may be some problems or some things that rear their head that I don't like about it later. But so far, I've enjoyed it, and it's doing me a good job. So we'll see how it goes from there.
That's good. Here's one we may have missed. Too old to do this. Have the S1 when using the cut settings. Why would you use the toggle switch on the Focus? So any of the Z addressable machines, like the S1 and the P2, you can actually drop the focus down. And the idea there is that if you have a thicker piece of material and you're putting your focus right on the top, it's going to have a harder time getting all the way through, because as the beam goes deeper in, it's actually going out of focus. So you want to kind of set your exact focus spot right in the middle of the material, and that way it'll have a more consistent cut top to bottom. It's going to be less tapered, and it's going to be more consistent all the way through. So it'd be a thing that if you have 6mm material, you're doing a cut, you might want to drop it 3mm to get that in the middle. So it's just really about the efficiency of the cut. If on thicker material is really where they're getting at. 1/8 inch, whatnot, you're probably not going to do it, but you get into quarter or anything thicker, you would want to look at that.
Yeah, I actually cheat the focus down a lot of times, especially if on thicker materials. Not saying that you have to, but if you're trying to do a single pass cut, a lot of times that extra 2 or 3mm penetration into the material with that focus will make it a little easier to get that one pass drop, as opposed to trying to do 2 passes. It doesn't matter which way you go about it, but you can actually, especially the thicker materials, you can actually see the difference in the pitch of the kerf of the blade when you do that. So, but yes, what we got going on? Yeah. She hasn't printed anything lately. No, she's been very busy with the kids and everything. She bought a bunch of stuff and played around here recently. We never did a video with it. I think she made a couple things for some family gifts for a baby shower, and I was busy. She was busy, so no video was ever made. But yeah, I can't really make her make content, so I just have to kind of catch her when she's doing it and try to videotape her and hope she don't make me delete it. So that's how that works. But it works. If you're trying to start a t-shirt business, there's probably better ways of doing it. If that's what your go-to is going to be to start a t-shirt business, there's probably better ways. But if you have a laser and you want to make some cool custom t-shirts and stuff for yourself or your family or your pets or baby showers or whatever, it works. It's one of those things. It's kind of like, if you're trying to produce things with a CNC and you have the 4040 Pro, CNC, you can do it. You're just not going to be turning out hundreds and thousands of them a month. It's more of a hobby based thing to me than it would be if you're trying to start a t-shirt business. But it is cool to have. It is neat that you can take that little screen, put it in your laser, and do what you can do with it, and not have to have all the other parts and stuff. And I know you've probably done just as much, if not more, with the screen printer than we have, haven't you, Steve?
Yeah, I've played around with it a little bit more, and as a matter of fact, I had a report back from there's a pork farmer that I did up a bunch of T-shirts for he and his family to use, and they go to a lot of farmers markets, and he said they are holding up very well. The screen printing, they wear them multiple times. They got multiple shirts, but they're washing them weekly, so they've put it through a lot of torture this summer, and he says they're all looking great, other than the stains from other stuff. So he's actually wanted me to do some more of them, and that's the case where he's going to want like a dozen shirts. That's manageable with this. If it was a bigger order, I'd probably be saying, yeah, you want to talk with someone with a bigger setup. But for this, because I do all this other custom things, to be able to add that, hey, you need 6 hats and a dozen shirts. Sure, I can do that.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like with me and my sawmill. I've got a sawmill, but if you said, "Hey, I need an 18-wheeler load of wood cut," my sawmill's not set up for that. You know what I mean? If you just wanted a few pieces, or if you weren't in a hurry and we wanted to work together and do the interior of a room or something like that, that's doable. But a lot of times when we get into these things, we buy a tool that will let us get into the subject, but not necessarily be the master of that subject. And that's the way I look at it with a t-shirt thing. It's fun, it's cool, and if we had more room, we could probably use it more often. But we're busting at the seams over here. Until I get a bigger shop, it's not. I mean, literally, I have stuff stored in the living room that should be in my shop because I'm busted at the seams. But it's stuff that I can't necessarily get rid of, so just kind of stuck with. I just scratched the scab. But anyway, let's see what else we got going on. Well, I guess everybody quit commenting. Y'all gonna quit commenting on us all together, or what? Let me move my ice pack. Oh, these guys right here are awesome. By the way, these little ice packs right here.
Yeah. Let's just say everybody in chat's freezing up like I am.
Verl saying Adam Stack will give you $1,000 coupon if you make a $99 deposit, making the Hurricane $27.99. And like I said, I'm not really, guys. I am a terrible, terrible salesman. Uh, but what I will tell you is, so far, I like the machine. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you. If you ever hear me telling you it's the best thing ever, I guarantee you'll like it. I'm probably intoxicated, or somebody's got a gun to my head, because I just don't do that. That's just not who I am. I like the Hurricane. Me and Steve have talked about it. There's things that I like about it that he may or may not like as much. But so far, I've had really good luck with it, and I think for what they're asking, as long as there's no unforeseen issues, it seems like a pretty good deal. But like I said, I'm still using it. It's still early for me to say for sure, because not only have I not had it very long, but nobody's had it very long. So I like to at least give it a little while and kind of see what happens. But from what I can see of the machine and from what I know of Adam Stack, I don't foresee any issues. And from my emails with them, I think this machine's actually going to get better. That's why I was telling Steve, because he was a little bit, like, man, I kind of wish I got one of those, but sounds like the one they're going to send me is going to be way better than the one you got. Because every time I tell them, hey, this needs to be looked at, or y'all might want to do this, or y'all might want to do this, they're actually replying back and going, hey, that's a great idea. Here's a picture. This is what we did to it. So I think they're going about it the right way. And only time will tell, but I think it'll end up being one of the better uh, desktop CO2s on the market. It's already one of the best, but I think the longer they have it out there, the more people tell them, input, I think it's going to get even better. That's
Yeah,
just me.
it is nice to see them being very responsive to that, and yeah, I'm hoping they want to send one my way too. And if you are looking at anything on adamstack.com, like I say, I'm not a salesman either, but they did give me a code that seems to be universal to anything. Just use Vintari 10, should get you 10% off. Doesn't give me anything other than they know you talked with me about it. But even on that deposit, you can save yourself $9 by just using
Yeah.
that code. So go ahead and throw that in there and save yourself some money.
Yeah, but so far, like I said, I've been thoroughly impressed with the machine so far. There's a few little wrinkles which a lot of them they've already addressed, but unfortunately, it's going to be addressed on the next generation of machines, not the
Yeah.
one that I got. Because mine is an absolute prototype machine. So, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, Craig, before I got the Shipoko, my very first CNC was from Genmitsu. It was the 4040 Pro, and that's what I cut my teeth on. That's what I got kind of used to and worked with. I tried it with V Carve. I tried it with Candle. Well, not Candle. what was the other one? Easel. I tried it with V-Carve and I tried it with Easel, and I wound up going back to V-Carve because of some of the stuff that I just like the design tools of V-Carve better. But I ran the 4040 Pro for a while, and then after that, I wound up moving to the 6050, Genmitsu 6050, which was as close to the Shipoko 5 Pro as I have been so far. Because the 6050 is a big enough machine that it feels like a more powerful CNC. It brings your production times up where they're fairly competitive with some of the bigger machines. But then once I got that one and I started hitting that limit to like 20 something inches in size for my projects, I was like, I got to go bigger. And so that's when I started looking at getting a 4 foot by 4 foot machine. And I just worked my way through the different machines on the market until I decided to go with Shipoko. And so far, I'm glad I did. There are other things about other machines that, yes, some machines move faster. Yes, some machines can, maybe carry a Volkswagen when mine might not can or whatever. But grand scheme of things, total package, I think I've done really well for what I wanted as far as my CNC. Haven't had any problems with it. It's just done a good job for me. The jobs that I've done on the CNC have got a good portion of my money back. Probably not all of it yet, if you keep up with every dollar, because there's material expenses and stuff like that you have to take off of those jobs when you do them. But within 8 months, I've made the vast majority of the money back with that CNC within 8 months, and I don't lean heavy CNC. I do mostly laser stuff. So,
have you factored in the cost of breaking bits on that payback yet?
Well, those I just mark those off as a training expense, my business account. Continued education. Hey, that's the way. So far, I've only broke two expensive bits, and both of them were from improper hold down. Well, one of them was because I forgot to flip the switch on the spindle. But
well, it happens. It's part of the learning experience.
Yeah. Jer O'Grady, I don't know that Bamboo gives out codes. Me and Steve both have affiliate links, but as far as like savings codes, I don't have any that I'm aware of. If I do, you'd have to look at that code.
Yeah, it's I haven't seen many, and even some of the other places, it's so sometimes the codes are like a from stack was done limit now, so.
You broke up pretty bad on that one. Tom Dukarich said he burned up the spindle on his the 500-watt spindle on his two trees. So he ordered the 4040 Pro Max, flipped the coin to see which affiliate link to use, and Steve won. Well, congratulations, Steve. Now that's Tom, the 4040 Pro. That machine's pretty solid to be a smaller CNC like that. I ran it the other day with 1/4 inch bits. I know Steve has too, and it's of course it's not gonna perform at the level of a Shipoko 5 Pro or a Onefinity Elite, but for the size machine that it is, the speeds and feeds that I was able to get out of it consistently, it's pretty impressive, especially for the price. It's not that expensive compared to the other machines that you're comparing it to on the market.
Yeah, I did a video on the spoon rest the other day, and I was using Cody's bits, and I know I was feeding them. I could have pushed them harder, but just trying to get a feel for that machine compared to the Onefinity, and it's impressive. I keep bumping those speeds up closer and closer when I run on the other one.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing because I kept watching for a little bit of deflection in the Z axis, and I kept bumping it up, and never did. Of course, I got to that point to where I was like, you know what, I don't want to keep pushing it because I'm getting really good results, and my times are good enough that I can live with it. So I'm just going to let it run right there. You know what I mean? Because there comes that point to where you're like, okay, I could probably go a little faster, but you get nervous that you're going to break something or just get the bit too hot or something like that and start causing it to dull the bit or whatever. So I got it up to a certain point, and I'm like, you know what, this is doing a really good job. I'm going with this, and so.
Well, I'll even admit to this. I was running a few of those. I only showed doing one of them in the video, but I ended up with three, as people saw in the video. Um, in one of them, when I was switching from the bowl bit, I may have forgot to. It plowed that bit into that material, and I think it was the birch one. So that's not necessarily lightweight material. And surprisingly, it wanted to move. It was moving it through it. It was not happy about it, so I was able to stop it, re-zero it, and then, but it never lost a step. It was just the router and everything. It was just not happy about it. But yeah, they've really beefed up that frame with the Pro Max and on that Z axis, and it
Yeah.
is I'm going to enjoy playing with that one as a desktop CNC. That's one that I think you're going to see in my shop for a while.
Well, I've got that one. Bill is training currently on that one. He's been after me, wanting to try his hand at CNC, and so that one's going to be staying at his place for the moment. Now, if we come up with a project or if we want to do something with it, he can bring it back over. But for right now, that was going to be Bill's learning machine to see if he enjoys himself with CNC stuff. So. Yeah, if you hadn't already, guys, like I guess as Nipa says over there, hit the like button if you don't mind, guys. I know our audio is a little crummy tonight. Video's not the best it's ever been, but give us a A for effort at least. But it's about that time. I think I better go in there
Yeah, we'll
elevate this
be back in
leg
the.
anyway. Do I know?
I feel my connection keeps being choppy. I was just saying
It
that it seems like my connection's getting choppier too.
Yeah, but yeah. Anybody else? Any more questions? Y'all better get them in here if you're going to ask them, because like I said, this leg's starting to talk to me a little bit, so I'm not gonna force it to stay out here that much longer. I need to go get it up off of the floor before it winds up giving me pain, and I ain't taking my medicines yet too. So
So here's a comment from Davenport Decals and More. A crafter thinking about buying a laser, and I'm thinking the X tool is probably the best fit for me. Seems to be really good quality and safety features, and yeah, they do incorporate some more. I think they're coming from a crafting world. If you've played around with crickets and such, you probably get along okay with the X tool XCS software. They even have now the M1 Ultra, and I've got one. I still need to play around with it, but it's got the multiple heads. You can get a 10 or 20 watt diode on it. You can get the paper cutting tool, the foil embossing tool, the pen tool, the inkjet tool. It does have a smaller working area, but it does a lot of things for you. So they branch out a bit, and they yeah they like to play around with different things. We were talking about the screen printer earlier, so kind of like to call them the Apple of lasers and crafting, but you do pay a little bit more for it. So
well, and like you said, I've got several X tool machines, and so far I like them all. Every X tool machine I've got has always done what I expected it to do. My original D1 10 watt that I bought still works. The 20 watt D1 that I bought, it still works. All the other machines that I've got, I've only had to replace. I have one problem with my S1 where I had to replace the motherboard. Still not sure if that wasn't something to do with the shop or USB connection got dropped during a firmware update. I don't know exactly what caused it, but I do know they worked with me to get it corrected, and it's been working great ever since. So I have no complaints with X-Tool. I know a lot of people don't like that they are a little more expensive than other brands, but you know, so is Cadillac, so is Mercedes. I mean, sometimes you pay for branding with some of these machines, and if you like their product, then pay it. I have on a couple of
Mhm.
occasions, and still do. I love my little F1 for events. So it's just you got to figure out. To me, you got to figure out what it is you want the machine to do, and then figure out what machine is going to do what you want and do it well for the allotted budget that you have. Because there's just so many variables that you have to consider with this stuff.
Yep. Yep. So, all right.
But anybody got any more questions, guys? Because I hate to rush off, but for those of you joining late, maybe didn't know, I did just 2 days ago have surgery on my knee. I had a partial tear on my tendon that connects from my thigh down to the top of my kneecap. What do they call it? Quadriceps tendon, I think is what they call it. And it was like 40% ripped loose, so they had to go back in and reattach it. And so it's a little sore, it's a little tender, and I'm still recovering from that. So, like I said, I apologize to you guys for being out here, but you did get to see this lovely fern that my wife has been growing here. You can probably see a little more of it, and but I couldn't make it all the way out to the shop, so this was as far as I made it. This is the front porch. But hopefully next weekend I'll be back in the shop if I can get everything healed up enough to where I'm comfortable that by going to the shop I'm not going to hurt myself any worse. Because the last thing I want to do is prolong my recovery to the point to where it's months and I haven't been out in my shop. That would be really terrible. So we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But do you have anything else, Steve? I mean, I ain't trying to run us off or nothing, but I know you were struggling with your internet too. So
No. No. I just been enjoying some R&R time up here, but like I said, I didn't completely leave all the lasers at home, and there's an actual F1 is. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back in the shop this week. Been trying to do some project videos with some tutorials in there. I mean, if you're not familiar with my channel, even in my reviews, I try to put some tutorial stuff in there. I try to explain some things about it. And then if I'm doing a project, I try to show a little bit more of the design process and such. So hopefully people appreciate that. I know that makes them a little bit longer, but I feel then even if it's not a project or a machine that you're looking for, you still get something out of it. So, yeah, that I'll be doing more of that this week, and hopefully in my shop or at least my office with more consistent internet. We're
yeah,
and yeah, we're like I said, I'll mention I'll get some stuff locked in for the Woodworking Expo. We're also coming up on 100 episodes of this in just well, we're on 95, so we got 4 more to do, and then it's our 100th episode. So
yeah, there may be some freebies in that.
there may be some fun stuff for that. So try not to plan anything for that first Sunday in November. We're gonna try
Yeah,
to have some fun with that one.
yeah, we are working on some cool stuff. And guys, for those of you that have been here with me and Steve through this past, well, it's been over a year now. I said 100 episodes or so. We do appreciate
2
every
years.
one of you. Yeah, almost 2 years. We do appreciate you guys. And we had discussed tonight, because Steve's out of pocket, I'm all jammed up and busted up, and so we were like, we could just call it. We could just not have a live tonight, but then we wouldn't be able to say we haven't missed a Sunday in 2 years. So we had to at least do it, whether it was a good one or not. We'll just have to take it that way. But we wanted to at least do it, and like I said, hopefully the 100th edition there'll be some cool stuff. We're gonna try to get some stuff together to give back to you guys. We always look for ways of doing it. It's just not always convenient or doable. But for the 100th, we're definitely going to come up with something. So if you have it, or if you don't normally, make sure you put that on your calendar so that you can be here for our 100th edition for sure. And then right around the corner, it'll be the Christmas edition coming up. So we still haven't figured out what
Yeah.
we're going to do for the Christmas edition yet. So,
Gonna have to talk to all the elves.
yeah, get those elves cranking up. But anyway, guys, like I said, I would love to sit and talk with you guys for hours, but I've got to go take some of my meds to get the pain pushed back a little bit because I didn't want to be on here slobbering and being intoxicated and alive. So I haven't taken my prescribed medications in a while. So we're going to go get that
Yeah.
taken and get this foot elevated and get some ice on it, or this knee, I guess you could say, elevated, get some ice on it. So I'll let you sign us out there, Steve. I'm just going to sit here
Well,
and chill.
I'll do it my best Max Headroom impression, but we will hopefully be back to our normal selves or.
Yeah, you're freezing up real bad, guys. All right. Yeah, he's freezing. All right, guys. So, moral of the story is we appreciate y'all. Glad y'all came by and glad to see you. And we will do anything we can to try to put on a show for you guys. So until next week, y'all be safe. Oh, he's back. There he is. Hold on. Now he's frozen again. All right, guys. But anyway, y'all be safe and have a good night.